Today, we're diving into a massive idea, a concept described as nothing less than the single greatest power God ever created, reason itself. Let's get right into it.
Right from the get-go, the author of our source material, Professor Bayraktar Birakli, wants us to know this is serious stuff. He's telling us straight up what we're about to explore is a big deal.
I mean, that's a huge claim, right? So let me just ask you, what if the most powerful tool in the entire universe wasn't some hidden treasure you had to search for, but was actually something that's been inside your head all along?
So just to be clear, what we're doing here is neutrally unpacking the key ideas from Professor Bayrakli's 2024 book. We're going to explore his perspective on the Islamic theological concept of reason, which is known as AKIL.
Okay, so where does the author even start with this massive topic? Well, probably not where you'd expect. He doesn't begin with thinking. Instead, he goes right to the root of the word itself. Let's look at his first core idea, reason as a bond.
And this is fascinating. The original Arabic root of the word aql isn't about intellect or logic. It literally means a bond, a tie, something like a rope that you use to connect one thing to another. So how does this bond thing work? Well, according to the author, our reason operates on three really crucial levels. First, and he says this is the most important one, it creates a bond between us and God. Second, it bonds different concepts together, which is how we make sense of the world. And third, it helps us bond with ourselves through self-reflection.
This quote right here really shows you how high the stakes are for him. He argues that this divine connection is the primary job of reason. So, to get in the way of that, he calls that the greatest injustice of all.
Now for the second core meaning, if the first job of reason is to connect, the author argues its second job is to protect. This brings us to the idea of reason as a shield.
The key word the author uses here is a Turkish verb durdurmak. It just means to stop, to halt, to put on the brakes. He's saying that our reason is our internal braking system.
So picture this. The author describes this constant internal battle. On one side, you've got these destructive impulses coming from the ego, the nefs, and from temptation or shaitan. And on the other side, you have aql, your reason, stepping in and saying, nope, stop right there. That's what creates what we call willpower. And here's the crucial link he makes. This stopping power isn't just about everyday self-control. For the author, this is the absolute foundation of the major theological concept of taqwa, that state of being conscious of God and actively protecting yourself from doing wrong.
Okay, so we've covered the meanings of aql. It's a bond and it's a shield. But what's its purpose? What is reason actually supposed to do according to the Quran? The book lays out a few core jobs based on scripture. And aql is never just passive. It's supposed to be actively understanding, actively thinking, figuring out what the truth is and speaking it, and even forming the very foundation of good manners and respect.
And this leads to a really key argument he makes. Revelation, like the Quran, isn't meant to replace our reason. It's the opposite. He says the Quran's message is aimed directly at our reason. It's designed to wake it up, to engage it, and to activate its full potential.
So we have this incredibly powerful tool inside of us, but what happens if we just let it sit there, if we ignore it? Well, this final section covers the author's very stark analysis of what he calls the price of neglect.
To show the ultimate consequences, the author brings in this incredibly powerful verse from the Quran. It describes this deep, painful regret from people in hellfire who realized their fate was sealed the moment they failed to listen and, just think.
So at the end of the day, he's presenting a really clear choice with two totally different destinations. Using your aql, he says, leads you down a path of truth, wisdom, and eventually paradise. But neglecting it, that path leads to chaos, injustice, ruin, and hellfire.
And just in case the point wasn't sharp enough, the author underscores it with another verse. And this one is pretty blunt. It describes those who refuse to use their reason as deaf and dumb and calls them the worst of living creatures in God's sight.
And that pretty much wraps up our brief look at this book. But get this, we've only scratched the surface. The author actually identifies at least 6 other distinct types of reason in the Quran. So it kind of leaves you with this big question, right? What else could these other sides of our intellect possibly reveal about the true nature of this incredible power we all have?